What's up, YouTube? You checking out the Frequent Flyer, and this is my review of the Syma X2 aircraft. Now, this thing I think has a really cool design. This sort of reminds me of the Marvel comic book character Carnage, so I call this my Carnage edition, the red one. This aircraft is really small. It surprised me how small it is. It's not as small as like the V272, but it's not quite as large as the V252. So this is a size comparison. It's actually not that much bigger than the V272, but you can see the props are larger, and the motors just reach out a little more than the V272. Let me move this. Let me see, do I have something else to compare it with? Okay, this is the Syma X4. So you can see it's not the size of the normal Hubsan X4 clone. You know, it's a little smaller. So it's a size in between. And I think that's pretty cool that they have a size in between. I think UDI has one also in between. But this is a really nice flying quad. I like the way this quad flies. I really think this is an indoor quad though, even though you might see video footage of me flying this thing outdoors, but because of how light it is, I don't think it's a good outdoor flyer in the wind. The wind easily blows this thing. Although it does fly really nice when it's still wind or no wind outside. Or maybe it can handle a little wind, but not much. This thing is a really good flyer. It's really stable. The prop guards on here, they're really like rubbery feeling. They have a lot of flexibility. But I think that's one bad thing up here in this area. It's really flexible and flimsy, so if you were to fly into an object and hit it on an angle here, it'll just push it right into the prop, and the prop is not really protected. So I think this part here should be out a little farther, maybe that there, and maybe up a little higher or a little more firm to serve its purpose. I don't think it really serves its purpose to protect the props. What else? This thing doesn't have any LEDs. It only have LEDs in the eyes, and for some odd reason, when this quad is sitting still, it'll stay lit. And once you start flying it, the LEDs will start blinking. And I thought that was backwards, you know. So this thing isn't capable of night flight at all, in my opinion. Because you're flying it around and you're constantly seeing the light blinking off and on. It's hard to really track this thing. You know, it's bad enough that there's no lights. There are no lights in the back. So I don't recommend this for night flying. I think this is strictly an indoor quad. The flips are really nice. For some reason, I've been having better flips outdoors. I think that's because of the wind or the air under it probably cushions it. I don't know, I'm not sure, because this thing is really light. But indoors, the flips are not as nice. At a fully charged battery, the flips are nice though. What else? I really like the sound that this thing makes. It's like a tiny mosquito sound that it makes, and it's pretty cool coming from something that looks like it's this size. The props the prop guards on this thing make it appear larger than it really is. So it's cool to hear that tiny mosquito sound coming from this thing. And the accelerometers are really nice on this thing. I guess I'll be able to show that in the flight footage. And oh yeah, I had a connectivity issue with this thing. I actually experienced a dropout with this just flying it across the street. Well, I admit it was a fairly large street that I flew it on the other side of, but I lost transmission. I lost connection with it, and it just fell out of the sky. And so I made this little modification here. I just drilled a hole in the top there and pulled the antenna out here, and it's giving me much more range. So I recommend that if you're a little mod savvy and you know how to do things like that. I would recommend doing that. Also, the battery. Now the battery, it has its own little size. I guess it's a little. It's definitely larger than the V272's battery, but it's a little smaller than the standard Hubsan X4 clones batteries. So this thing has a battery size of its own. So I think that might be a problem getting batteries, extra batteries for this thing. It does come with 2 batteries, but still, you know, for people wanting to buy like 5, I'm a person that like to keep a couple batteries because I like to fly a lot. So I'll have like 4 batteries tagging them along with me. But this thing, you know, it has its own size of battery. It's 150 milliamp hour, 20C. And also the implementation of the battery connection here, there's a little hole there. You just stick this in the hole and it snaps in. Let's see, then the lights blink, and I'm trying to do this thing through the camera. There, you have to push it to make it snap in, and that bends the wire up. Now the other thing, I thought this was pretty cool. I was thinking this was pretty cool when I first saw it, but then I realized that you have to pull on this thing to yank it out, to disconnect it, to pull the battery out to charge it. And I ended up ripping the connection out of one of these things. So I really don't think that's a good implementation of it now. And I put tape around this thing now to make it so I could have something to pull on when I pull it out of here, so that the wire doesn't get disconnected from this thing like this here. So I think that was a poor implementation of the battery. It looks cool, but I don't think that was a good idea. The props, I don't know if I admit I didn't check for the props to see if they had extra props for this thing on eBay or anywhere, but I was thinking that might be a problem, being as though the prop size is a little different in the standard micro quad. So that's another thing to think about, you know. I think that's all there is to show and say about this thing. So, oh yeah, it also comes in black, as you can see on the box back there. Oh, this is the transmitter. The transmitter is the Xbox 360 type. It takes 4 AA batteries. It's not bad. They're rubberized. The thumbsticks are. It's mold too. I have a problem sometimes when I throw this in my bag. Sometimes the rubber things come off at the thumbsticks. Some of these buttons aren't real. Only the trim is real on this side here, and this side, it doesn't have any throttle trim. Only the yaw trim. This side here changes rates. It has a high and low rate, and this side here executes the flips, or it might be vice versa. This side right here does the rate change, and this side does the flips. And that's all there is to say about this quad. So let's check out the flight footage. Okay, this is the flight portion of the Syma X2 aircraft review, and I'm going to be flying it with the stock transmitter. I haven't been able to bind this thing to any of the other transmitters that I have. As you can see, the LEDs are steady lit on the eyes. Now once you take off with this thing, it starts to flash. Let's see. We're going to start off with high rates. You can see the LEDs is blinking now. Hands off hover, this thing is really stable. Let's see if we can get a flip while it's stable like that. One more. I didn't give it any throttle just now when I flipped it. Let's see, the yaw rate is pretty good with this. You can fly it around and do nice circuits with it. Let's see if we can get another flip. Yeah, that time I was on the throttle with it that time, so the flip was more nice. Oh, let me see if I can show you guys this accelerometer or gyro trick that I've been fooling around with. When you toss this thing, when you spin it and toss it, it'll recover, but then it'll spin really fast in the opposite direction, even faster than the yaw rate is capable of when you're flying it. Let's see if I can recreate that for you guys, show you that. See. Got all crazy on me. Let me try it one more time. I actually wasn't controlling that at all. Let me see. One more try. Hope you guys were able to get that. So this thing has really nice gyros and accelerometers. And I'm just crashing right now. But this thing, it flies really nice. You see the accelerometers and gyros work pretty well. I turn this thing upside down and drop it. It'll recover really quick. So I guess that's all there is to show with this quad. It's really crash resistant. I just banged it against the wall a couple times and it's still flying pretty good. And so that's all there really is to show about this quad. The Syma X2 Aircraft. Thanks for watching.